सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु. You know, both Sama and the Dama are applied when you are doing a Mangalacharan. You become aware of the internal calmness by invoking, may there be happiness for all. So you see that cup is empty, the mind is empty inside, and then you come outside. Whatever we perceive in the world outside is left outside. That is the beauty of Sama and Dama, can be applied even in the Mangala Charan. Basically, by Sama and Dama, we realize a full cup cannot receive more water. For example, to truly learn, the seeker must come empty, humble, open, ready. That is where the Mangala Charan works. So, when you have a sense of humility, what is that sense of humility? Is that I know that I have yet to know. It is the seeker's invocation of humility and a blessing before the learning. Find out the role of Sama and Dama. The role of Sama and Dama are very important. Humility prepares the mind, but humility only comes when there is an internal calmness, when the mind is 100% available. Intellectual humility is not required. Gratitude opens the heart. And then whatever the mantra you remove, you chant, it works. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness or wholeness in all. Wholeness and completeness in all. So when I perceive you, for example, I communicate with you, I think about you, I speak about you with that emptiness of the mind, internal calmness, Sama, and I express outside, Dama. Pay attention. That is where the secret lies, that we will be taking in detail. These are the subtler aspects of the Mangala Charan. And you can open the eyes. I can touch upon briefly the higher aspect, how Sama and Dama did allow me not to miss any session. Did I miss any session during the last 6 years? Can you point out? So it applies both to the teacher and the seeker. Dennis was attending another session, so obviously that is okay. But Sama and Dama makes me clear. How it makes me clear? By bringing a cognitive change. And what the cognitive change sets the mind, the cognitive change sets the mind to find the real self, or you can say your true nature. You remember perhaps that cognitive understanding. This is what cognitive understanding, reasoning, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. So the things becomes clear. Cognitive effect. I look at a person in my mind, instantly internal disturbances begins. Now you see where the Sama and Dama is. So the cognitive understanding. Cognitive understanding wise, there is no situational unhappiness, there is no relational unhappiness. Means mind should make me aware that unhappiness or stress or the duality cannot come from outside. It makes your mind 100% available to you. That then there is an internal calmness. Mind is available. Cognitive understanding means cognitive change. And now what is that change? Now the internal calmness is being expressed outside in thought, speech and action. I told you. Cognitive change. How the cognitive change comes? The discernment and dispassion. And that discernment and dispassion leads to a right, good and proper thought, speech and action that changes your behavior and attitude, that changes your personal, professional, social and family life. So basically, if you look closely, Sama and Dama brings about a change in your attitude, in your behavior and conduct based on internal calmness and outer expression. And external calmness, how your senses picks up the objects, people and situation. I believe you are getting it. So by changing habitual cognitive pattern with a conscious uplifting inputs, we replace the old script with a new, healthy, authorized pattern. Then you don't have an unauthorized occupants in the mind. Every day it happens. So should I remember this? Yes. By default you remember. Every day you wake up in the morning and you say, let me find out my internal calm. Let me see the external calmness also. Sama and Dama works practically in every situation. Every situation. I'm not going in detail. I have already discussed seeker in waiting and the seeker treading the path. So there is a element of default mind present who is a seeker in waiting. And who is treading the path, who is a seeker, there is a discerning intellect which takes care. Discerning intellect says, no, I have to attend, I have to change. There is a commitment, there is a sincerity, and there is a consistency. It both belongs to the teacher and also to the seekers. We have been talking about 6 treasures. 6 treasures. I have already covered that Sama part. Understanding active peace, building Sama through the fourfold practice. It is a part of the fourfold practice that makes me a great seeker. Do you remember that I told you my master said, once a seeker, always a seeker. You remain as a seeker. Why you remain as a seeker? Are you passing on the knowledge to the seekers? No. Knowledge always exists. A teacher who uses the text where the knowledge is there in Eastern wisdom to pass on based on their personality and attitude. So the fourfold practices makes you a seeker. Discernment, dispassion, 6 treasures, and mumukshu, the intense desire for awakening, realization and transformation. That is the journey we are undertaking. So daily application in thought, speech and action. That is what I covered in Sama. Etymology and rigorous understanding. Layman's explanation. Sama versus passive peace and laziness. I covered that. And essence of the Sama. These are the 7 points in the Sama. core concept is the active peace. I am in peace or calmness in thought, speech, and action, in activity, in living my personal, professional, social, family life. I have to live actively in the waking state. So, normally, peace are okay, close your eyes, fall into sleep, take something. No. So, that is different. Second point that I discussed, discernment and dispassion. Third point I discussed that, how this active peace is expressed in thought, speech, and action. We discussed about the etymology, etc. Now coming to the Dama. Dama is the external calmness with reference to the sense organs. Sense organs picks up the respective object. My eyes cannot pick up the sound, so obviously the eyes picks up the objects of the name and the form. Ears picks up the sound, so how my mind internally responds to these external objects, people, situation, events. That has to do with Sama. I need a self-awareness. I need to notice it. But if the mind is calm, I can notice it easily. I can take it. So that is how the Dhamma is explained as the mastery over the senses. That is the first point. Sama, mastery over the mind, internal. Here it is external. External calmness. It is a skillful self-mastery over the senses. Means sight, hearing, taste, touch, and the smell. I discussed also the aim is not to reject the world or suppress desires, but to guide the senses so they serve clarity and a higher well-being. It is not about joylessness or escapism or suppression, but rejecting pleasures that arise from the delusion and attachment. So in Dhamma you recognize, it's a part of a delusion and attachment. You are watching a horror film or a romantic film, and your mind starts a romance in fantasy with your honey, delusion and attachment. That needs to be dropped. That is where the Dhamma comes into play. I'm just giving one example. The Sanskrit root of the Dhamma means to tame, to subdue, but it is not pressure or suppression. But by discernment and dispassion, you do it, you recognize, now mind is going into the delusion. Mind is enjoying. Don't do that what I used to do that. I used to watch, the film and I now my mind is running with a fantasy. I used to just switch off the TV. If nobody is watching, or if others are watching, I used to leave. Let me check my email. Finished. In the beginning, we have to pick up these things in order to. So Dhamma is a skillful mastery over the senses. Skillful. Why to practice Dhamma? Attraction is there, delusion is there, so temptation is there. So I pick up that, I become aware of those temptations. It may be wrong, it may be negative, it may be positive. Look at my honey, she will or he will never understand what he or she is doing. Temptation is there in a negative way. Can I withdraw myself? Can I maintain that calm? Can I remain pause? Can I give a pause before I act? Or can I build my ego? He or she is like this, they will not change. I am practicing Dhamma. I am not teaching anyone. So Dhamma is not suppression, it is not joylessness, it is not escapism. It does not require skipping all the deserts that you have gone into the party forever, but enjoying one piece mindfully and knowing when to stop. When to stop watching a film, when to stop eating their food. Overeating should not be there. So Dama has a very important role in shaping our attitude, behavior, and personality. Understanding and reflection is required. Second point in the Dhamma I discussed daily wisdom on Dhamma and daily application. I have to apply daily. Step by begin the day with the discernment and dispassion. Notice impulses for sensory stimulation and consciously guide them. That is what the Dhamma is. Morning urges often set the tone for the rest of the day. Mangalacharan. Use the Mangalacharan to settle the Dhamma. Or your mind reminds you what happened yesterday, why you were so much stressed and reacting. You have to sit quietly. Otherwise, simply contemplation and reflection will not work. Will not work. Third point, the etymology. Etymology is more or less the same of the Dhamma. Dham means to inner control, inner sense of, I control by discernment and dispassion. I control by discernment. I control by understanding, meaning to tame, subdue, or restrain. It's a voluntary restraint of the sense organs, guiding them to serve higher aims rather than indulgence. That is how our masters explain. Unchecked senses scatter the mind, leading to distraction and restlessness. Dhamma. Are you watching me? Are you seeing me through the sense organ? Are you listening to me through your another sense organ? Is your mind picking up those information and digesting it, or your mind has gone somewhere else? So it means self-awareness is required. You notice that. You notice where the mind is going. Is the mind distracting? Bring it back. That is very important. Dhamma, active sama leads to Dhamma. I discussed that before. Active sama, internal calmness. When the mind is 100% available, you can be very intense in understanding where the senses are going. You can notice them and you can withdraw them. Sama is internal calm and composure, and Dhamma is the outer discipline. That is what we discussed. Without Dhamma, a seeker cannot awaken to the true nature. You cannot succeed in meditation without the practice of Dhamma. Because that objects from the world outside, received from the sense organs, lives in your mind, distracting you. That is what we say. I had lot of thoughts today in meditation. My mind is not able to focus. That is how we complain. So Dhamma is very, very important. Not only Sama, but Dhamma. Means that I am aware that how my senses have picked up the object, created a delusion in the mind, and return as a distraction in the wandering thought process. Pay attention. Understand Dhamma in a uncontrolled senses means then what is going to happen? You are not, Dhamma is you have not practiced Dhamma before, and you are directly practicing meditation. Normal experience, oh my mind today did not focus. I will pick up this understanding, but I want to bring you to your notice how lack of Dhamma blocks the seeker's mind and puts you into unnecessary anxiety and distress. Simple, take an example. You wake up in the morning, you see weather is very good. Mind says you should have gone for a vacation. Now the mind has picked up this. Now you see you will skip the session because the mind is totally outward and external. Lack of Dhamma blocks the seeker's mind. Failure to control the senses. You pick up any activity in the world outside. It is not going to help you to find the real self. So every activity has some kind of a pleasure, some kind of necessity, some kind of who says that it is must? My mind says. The mind is distracted. So I become a non-seeker. When I become a non-seeker, then obviously Dhamma is lacking. When Dhamma is absent, means what? Sense organs act impulsively and react to every stimulus, driving the mind away from the higher purpose. Highest purpose is the self-discovery. Permanent peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom are located inside. What prevented me not to do the practice daily, not to attend the session, what prevented you? Either it is Rajoguna or it is Tamoguna. What is Rajoguna? Activity, hyperactivity in the external world. Tamoguna, I know opposing, my mind opposes. Why it opposes? Because I have a delusion. Delusion related to what? Delusion related to the world outside. So you neglected once, you rejected twice, and repeated neglect of the Dhamma leaves the mind conditioned by its past tendencies. That is why and the finest example of this, again I'm remembering, you might be thinking that I always criticize. No. This young guy, who had 3 events of cute and beautiful girl, but now he is transforming. So I asked him that what changed in me or what changed in you so that you became committed? Did anything change in me or I am teaching the same way? He realized it. He is still writing every day. He sends me the brief he contemplates, he reflects. That contemplation and reflection is nothing but discernment and dispassion. That leaves him in the state of the calmness. He says, I have never left any day without contemplation, reflection, and practice, and this is helping me. I now understand what you have been saying almost 4 years ago. Lack of Dhamma means constant distraction. And any distraction which has an element of delusion or means seeking pleasure outside will stop you attending the session. That is also one of the many reasons in almost, except the private session, in almost every group session, Dennis knows it fully. You pay me, it's okay. You don't pay me, okay. You pay me little less, you pay me little more. Both are appreciated. Obviously, there is a great appreciation who also takes care of me. It is because of that. Okay, you say, no, I cannot pay. Can you be committed? Can you be consistent? No, that depends on me. So it means you lack humility. On one hand, you are not paying the price. On the other hand, you lack humility. You are lacking Dhamma. That we will talk later. This is a very higher practice. So we become more and more aware what is going on into our mind. Instead of discernment and dispassion, the mind gets immersed in the patterns of the desire, and they pick up unnecessary things in their life, so they don't have anything to say. So it means your mind is lacking Dhamma. The mind is lacking. Briefly, I put up. I will just pick up in great detail when the time comes. We will discuss about Sama, Dhamma, Uparati. From the next session, we will take up another treasure, that is Uparati. So now let us open for contemplation and reflection. Who is going to be the first? Yes, David.
Thank you. Just reinforce the importance of Dhamma in terms of the sense control. And I'm just reflecting on all the different things, the last day, 2 days, 3 days, week, whatever, where Dhamma hasn't been effectively used. So for me, it's really engaging in that focus of using Dhamma for the next while to just kind of live the day-to-day life that's peaceful and happy.
Beautiful. Yes, you're right. Something prompted in my mind that is a little higher aspect. There are 3 factors because of which we fail to practice and apply Dhamma. The idea of a possession. If I don't see anything, idea of possession doesn't come. Possessions. So possession also gives me a pleasure. Well, now I have a house, I have a car, I have a good, but girls know Michael Kors. I heard that Michael Kors, purse and wallet. I possess that. Possession gives you, possession hooks your sense organ, and ultimately the mind withdraws outside. Second is eating. Food also gives the pleasure. So it leads to binge eating, and that is the second. Gita explains in a very subtle way. We are not learning Gita at this time. Gita, Rati, Trapti, and Tushti. And third is any kind of a pleasure, including the sexual pleasure. It also any kind of a pleasure. Whether you have a pleasure of wearing a particular dress or shave yourself or beautify, the 3 pleasures, any of these pleasures you are immersed in, that disturbs your inner calm, the Sama is gone and Dhamma is gone. We'll talk about that. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. My takeaway is that you can't have one without the other, because if I initially was thinking Sama when the mind is 100% available, and then working to focusing on Dhamma, not realizing that the Dhamma then literally can remove the Sama. So if we're not using and mastering our withdrawal and knowing when to stop, whatever it might be, not clinging to anything, then the Sama is always affected. So they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
Definitely they go hand in hand. We should be very mindful of this. You have an internal calmness. You wake up in the morning. And then you had a thought of a person with whom you had a fight and reacted. Now see, the Dama has to be there. If Dama is not there, your mind is also disturbed. Anything, any object, anywhere, in any situation. So Sama and Dama has to go hand in hand. Internal calmness. Sometimes what happens, you withdraw your mind from that object and that results into both Dama and Sama. Sometimes you have to hold on to the internal calm. In a party, in a vacation, in a party where the person is also invited whom you dislike. So internal calm has to be maintained. I can tell you real life situations. How are you, Dennis?
I think Dama is like a filter between the sense organs and the mind that doesn't allow objects of sense organs to turn into poisonous objects. It
Yes.
doesn't allow attachment or aversion between the mind and the external objects or people. So Dhamma is a contributor to inner peace because external destruction cannot pass through this filter of Dhamma.
Beautifully said. You see the poisonous object. So, in one text, one master explains it is a poisonous object. In other text, the master explains the three kinds of a pleasure that we can receive from the world outside. By possession, I become a possessor. Like Elon Musk, he's the richest guy, means he possesses billions of dollars or trillions, whatever you say, possession. Second is the seeking pleasure. Huh? Pleasure. Pleasure also comes with an authority. I can have any kinds of pleasure. It also demands authority, builds up your ego. And the third is the eating pleasure, food. So whether you say these are the poisonous object you recognize by discernment, what is happening? My mind is running after these delusion. Happiness is not there. That also brings your mind back. Do you want to contribute, Christina?
Thank you. I was just sort of reflecting on it can feel like either you're in Sama and Dama or in the delusion, but the reality is, well, what we're trying to cultivate is the awareness every moment of every day, in every action or encounter, when we might be in delusion, right? To be able to bring ourselves back.
Beautiful. Yes. Did you all notice how Christina's speech became very soft and gentle? When she is in that state of Sama and Dama, her speech becomes also the soft. You should also notice that in your life. I leave it, it becomes very soft and gentle. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thank you. I realized when you were talking to Drew just now that my challenge isn't the three pleasures; it's the reaction to people that and situations, especially where I think I'm right, or if I conversely if I feel like I've been wrong. My mind really wants to chew on that, and so I recognize that my work is to use the Dhamma to Christina's point to find the balance and stay out of the delusion. Yeah. So yeah, and that I think that's the humility part. It's easy to say, well, I don't eat too much food, but if somebody wrongs me, I'm getting carried away with it, and I know that. So
and it is possible in a real life situation. Whether you are partying, whether you are on a vacation, whether you are teaching, whether you are in a family talking to your relations, at any time, you can bring about that change. And you rightly pointed out that's another way to look at it. A sense of humility helps you to notice why the mind is picking up a particular person or object. Huh? You know, if you have seen some series of FBI or CIA, they say person of interest. So you have to, or object of interest. Huh? They say, have you heard that phrase? Person of object. So I have to tell my senses, my mind, why the hell you are having this person of interest? Are you not enough with yourself? Be enough with yourself. And then you see the change. How are you, Samir?
Sir, I have noticed one thing that there is a result of every activity. Means whatever you do in outside world, there is a result. Means whatever you do,
Yeah.
you go to the shop, whatever you do, there is a result. And when you are in peace, then you start evaluating those results. Means what happened and why I was doing this and what I got after doing this activity, whatever is the activity. So, sir, as we keep on evaluating our result of our activities, there is the knowledge, means you slowly develop erupts in your mind, and Dhamma starts happening on its own accord in you. Means if you are evaluating the activity result of all the activities in peace, then there is no need, means Dhamma will be there, means it will be there automatically. It is my personal experience.
Yeah.
Means it will happen to you. Means instead of thinking that I should do Dhamma, it is not. Your mind will say that this is correct, this is right, this is wrong, and this should I, what should I do?
You know, you see that, majority of you have started applying these principles in your daily life. And have you noticed, Samir, that he always talks that how he applied these principles in the daily life. That is very, very, very important. They should not remain as an intellectual, dry philosophy. No, it has to be applied. I notice, I apply. Another series that I will talk about it. So what he is talking that every action has some result. Good, bad, high, low. Every action. And action is carried out, the three types of action. Thought, I think in the mind, speech, I express, and a physical action. Physical action. So now whether the thought, speech, and action are carried out by the delusion, absence of Dhamma. Absence of the Dhamma. So when there is an absence of the Dhamma, then I have anxiety, reaction, duality, and a conflict. So karma yoga is also plays an important role. We are going there. Slowly we are reaching there. Beautifully said. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you. Similar to Girish, I've been contemplating and reflecting on the interrelationship between Sama and Dhamma, and realizing that, we, in a way, we've put a lot of focus, personally, I put a lot of focus in on the Sama part, and realized that it's the Dhamma that is most effective, affecting myself. And in this contemplation of the interrelationship, it's realizing that we need the same awareness of Sama to recognize the Dhamma aspect, and then lean on the Sama to get you into Dhamma. So it's been extremely helpful, especially since Thursday, when I started this new contemplation, because I'm seeing it in action, to where, again, objectifying the Sama to the Dhamma, when Dhamma is being affected, let me go back and lean on the Sama and then it brings the Dhamma back out. So similar to what Sumit just expressed, it's happening naturally.
Beautiful expression. When I'm communicating by myself, it's better to check the sama. The moment you start acting in the world, also sama with the dhamma. Check that, is my internal calm is maintained when I'm talking to this guy, expressing this, living with my mom or parents or dad or someone else. I'm looking at a car which attracts me, which gives me a sense of pleasure, and I forget it. I forget what I forget, that I don't have means to buy this car. Why? Because of seeking pleasure, because of the delusion. And I return home, my mind is disturbed with one of simple object. And that car did not disturb me. Who can know it? Only who practices sama and dhamma. Cute and beautiful girl will not disturb me only when I practice sama and dhamma. I have yet to teach this guy sama and dhamma. We are just in a different text. We are just discussing about many forms of delusion. Yes, Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir. So today's understanding, like I was comparing with that example you took, that if the cup is completely filled, then we cannot put more tea into it. So likewise, like without Dhamma, mind, if totally engaged outside, it will not be available to us to even know that what is my nature without a desire. If I'm not chasing a desire, then what is my nature? That will not come to me if there is no space in the mind to see inward.
Beautiful. Yes, yes. You see that's another way to contemplate and reflect. Can you notice that all our great masters encouraged contemplation and reflection by each individual, and they became their masters in their own way, and ultimately they have written the text, and that is what we are learning. Do you want to share anything, Terry? Oh, okay. Let us close your eyes. Eyes are closed. First stage, in the stage number 1, self-awareness. How? At the physical level, place, position, and posture. Now you see that we have been practicing meditation in the same way for so long, and it becomes an easy affair. You notice self-awareness means default mind is gone. Default discerning intellect has entered. Then it becomes easy that being comfortable. Being comfortable, you remember. Do you remember change of direction of the mind? Let the mind keep looking inside your head or the heart. Basically, symbolically, it's a symbolic. And being carefree means you are aware of object and subject, means knower and the known, means seer and the seen. So all the thought, feeling, emotions, sensations are the objects. You are the subject. You don't subjectify the object. If you subjectify the object, you will return after meditation, you will say, I had lot of thoughts, what should I do? There is no way to control. We are not talking of the control. Not talking of the control. And then the fourth step in the stage 1 is about the mantra Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. We still check that mind, are you ready? Open, empty, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, may there be peace for all. First line, may there be happiness for all. Because you already I already talked about it and discussed, you already reflected. So the mind, there is a sense of mental maturity. So it's not a big deal. You can easily move deeply. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. You notice the mind inside. Yes, I feel that sense of wholeness in me. Exceptional thoughts are there, let it be there. They are too far. May there Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. So default mind and the discerning mind is treading this path. And you should not forget sometime during the day. The fifth step in the stage 1 is the discerning intellect is becoming aware of the 6 neighbors. Only because of these 6 neighbors we get trapped. And now we move to the stage number 2, where it is basically an active step and passive together. So the flow of the breath, you start with the flow of the breath, you check. So sometime it happens that someday, that is what you notice when you do the practice by yourself, even listening to my audio. You check. You check. What do you check? You check that flow of the breath is very gentle. My mind is 100% available to me. That there is no object in my mind being repeated. You can continue with the flow of the breath and being an observer of the breath without any fast and quick breathing. But if that is lacking, we should be looking inside the forehead in the space at a point and start breathing long deep in the hissing breath into your belly. Long deep in the hissing breath into your belly. Yes, we have to do a long practice which will cover all the steps. Yes, we will do that. Continue long deep in the hissing breath. Check if the mind is 100% available. The practice will also be very good. So you remember when I asked you to breathe into the belly, means your belly expands while inhaling and the belly contracts. Almost it touches the spine when you exhale. It's a long deep in the hissing, not quick and fast. Quick and fast gives you a pressure, undue pressure, and you get easily tired. So please continue long deep in the hissing breath into your belly. And you can be aware of that. You are a knower. The action is separate from you. One of the most beautiful and very deeper principle that every action is separate from the actor. And we have a great delusion in that regard. But we are moving, continue breathing long deep in the hissing breath. Your focus remains, you have a rhythmic flow of the breath long deep in the hissing into the belly. Do you also remember the joy of doing it? As if you feel, oh, I can do it for longer than you suggest us. And now stop this. We return to the flow of the breath again. It is the presence. What is the presence? We discussed in the Pice method. You notice. What you notice is one thing, and another part, because you notice, you become an observer. So there are two things, observer and the flow of the breath. That is very important. It is not the flow of the breath. Flow of the breath helps me to recognize the separation of the observer and the flow of the breath. And that helps us to transition to the stage number 3. So many higher seekers get absorbed presence in the observer. That too is okay. That is why you see that we have thousands and thousands of variations in meditation practices by different masters. So yeah, it is okay. And now we will use the Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers plus the triangle step. Both are included in the third stage. Semi-active step. So you are dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers. I also discussed in detail that how you recite mentally the Om Shanti while dropping on those segments depends on, can you recall? I covered that topic, mode and the mood of the mind. Mood of the mind is absorbed deeper, so you can Shanti. It takes a long time to stay on the one segment. This is also equal to your mind is totally free from the external distractions, means that Dama is there, and then you are changing constantly at regular interval. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. That too is okay. So you need not to think about that we should all have one set of experiences or the journey. It all depends on our past impressions, our commitment, sincerity, etc., etc. So continue dropping Om Shanti on the continue. And now leave this, look inside your heart, visualize the triangle of any color, and drop Om Shanti on each side of a triangle. It means you notice the side of a triangle, you are aware of movement of the mind of the Om Shanti in the triangle, clockwise, anti-clockwise. So you don't forget one time clockwise, next time anti-clockwise, to see that your mind is able to sync. So when the mind is able to sync, we transition into the stage before, how when you feel there is a sink, you sing mentally. While singing you push the mind deep inside the cave of your heart, and visualizing the mind seems to stop. You drop Shanti and finished. No more activity. All the active steps are done with. What does that means? That doership is dropped. Doership is dropped means what? Ego is dropped. That's another process. One way intellectually we say humility, but here the doership is dropped. We live in pure awareness. Another way to understand this kind of a self-absorption, it is not laziness or sleepiness. Yes, when we maintain that self-absorption, we may experience some vision, colors, images. Then who is rescuing us? Discerning intellect. Very good. You see the rainbow color. Very good. Discerning intellect says, okay, I accept, I'm grateful, finished. Someone image appears. Very good. Some people have reported that they see that a live image of my master. You might have seen my master. That is an emotional maturity. Also happens. So in the stage 4 is the state of doing nothing with discerning intellect, which helps us to live into a higher awareness than baseline awareness, than default mind. So clarity is there, the knowledge is there, understanding is there. And from that stage, we may transition to the stage number 4. And I told you before also, in the stage number 4, even after you are listening to the recording, it is good if you feel that you are absorbed into the stage 4, remain absorbed. Keep half an hour window and see what happens. And now you can chant loudly or mentally with me the stage number 5. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You're activating Sama in its fullest form. Now, that is the meaning of Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. While singing and saying mentally, you also check Dama is in its full glory. There is no object as such. At a higher level, we'll understand whether the Sama and Dama are one or two. I'm just throwing some. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Now pay attention that how we return. First you become aware of the right hand. So my sense organ already knew before where is the right hand as an object and become aware of the left hand. You see the mixture of the sama and dama. And now lift your both the palms, place it in your eyes, making the palms like a cup, and open the eyes inside in that deep dark space. And ask yourself, what happened? What do I feel? It is also important. And stay there for a few seconds and slowly bring your hands down. Now the time to share your experiences. Yes, Terry, you want to share?
Well, I was thinking about the stages, the activities of the meditation, and the activities of my day, and they're very limited. So I thought it was not that I'm succeeding all the time, but it's an exercise in humility to accept the limitations of my day.
That too is good. You have a higher level of humility that will take care of all those steps. On the other hand, yes, we will do it. In future sessions, we will do a long practice of meditation. Now I believe everyone is ready. So we'll be doing it so that you will understand each and every step. But your point is worth understanding, and I noted this. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you, sir. I had a very deep, peaceful meditation with no thoughts whatsoever. I had one, again, forgot to shut my phone off, and in the middle of the breathing, my phone rang and it startled me and sent a vibration from my legs straight up my body to where I feel the top of my head tingling, and said the only thought that came in was, should I reach over and shut off the ringer? And I couldn't move, didn't want to move, and immediately fell right back into the deep meditation. So thank you.
That is very important. That if I had reacted, it means, my mind went outside. But a kind of self-absorption keeps the mind inside. Okay, let the phone is buzzing. It's others' phone. Do you keep your phone into your lap? Oh, that's good. I thought on the side. Okay. Okay. How are you, Brandon?
No, it's on the floor next to me. I'm sitting on a cushion.
Oh, okay. Then it's okay. That's really good. That's a good way to. You don't notice, You are not concerned about it. Mind that gives you a deeper experience. That how the mind can transform itself. in a real life situation also. Yes, Brandy. David has gone, yeah.
Thank you. My meditation was really good. It was deep. I used Dama when things came up to ask myself, what are you doing? And it brought me back. And I love what you said, Terry, about recognizing the limitations of your day, because I think those are the things that came up for me during meditation. Like, what do you got this to do later? Come on, meditation's got to get through meditation. And I had to shut that down. And like, what gets done today gets done. What doesn't. And I like to just stay in sama,
Yes.
regardless.
Yes. One thing is there, we will also understand the higher level. When your sama and dama is at the peak, you are able to break those limitations. That is limitation caused by the mind at a very subtler level. So these are the higher principles we will pick up. How are you, David and Jerry?
Thank you. It was a great meditation at the japa portion. I was going Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, and I think you mentioned something about focusing on each segment. And so from that point on, I just slowed it way, way down and just was in the moment on each segment, not caring about how many segments I got done, but just about the journey. So that was an awakening for me. And then when you mentioned seeing the image, I have in the past seen lots of what I thought were ancestral images, and I realize now it was your master probably. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. That's another part that happened to many people. So it brings those images of the entire lineage also on its own. So that is a pointer to a mind goes deeper into the area where we have to discuss what is known as the prarabdha or the destiny. That's a beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good, thank you. It was a deep meditation. When we got to the japa, I was pretty well absorbed at that point and noticed a smile on the face. So the mantras always bring such joy to the mind and just the whole being. And the mantras for me, especially this Sarvesham, I've been doing every single morning and every evening, and sometimes throughout the day, share it in all the classes. But it definitely has created a value for the mind, and I feel like it's all encompassing. And I had an opportunity this weekend. I had a gal, we leave Wednesday for Vancouver, and she was going to watch our dog. And she let me know, and we leave in 4 days, I think, or 3 days. And she let me know yesterday she can't watch the dog. She sent me a text, said, does your dog sleep outside or inside? And I thought, oh. Anyways, the mind instantly, instead of being at all, I just said, thank you very much. And and the mind was like, she's not the right person to watch the dog.
Simple.
And we'll figure it out. And anyway, so it was interesting because I could have been very upset.
we have to take the world casually, because the world takes us casually. Do you see what I mean? The entire world outside takes us very casually. World, the outside, there is a storm. It doesn't say, okay, I will calm down, you please pass on. There is a flood. It doesn't say, world doesn't take us casually. They always take us casually. So we have also to take us. Another point that I want to mention, mom is also doing a private session with me. I think Jerry can recall. So her home is full of pets. She has a lot of lizards as a pet. She has rabbits, she has turtles, she has birds, and long list. he sent an email just last week. Coyote intruded my backyard, ate 2 rabbits. I was able to maintain my calm. I said, that is the way the world is. And I said, what precautions I should take. Otherwise, until last year, I would have been mad for a couple of days. Power of Sama and Dama. Power of Sama. Coyote, Dennis, you know Coyote? Yeah. So, yes, Coyote. How are you, Samir? Coyote लोमड़ी की तरह होती है, पूरे यहाँ पर है हमारे यहाँ. हाँ, Samir.
Sir, no disturbance in the mind from past impressions, and the meditation was very. I was quite from inside and very good.
Beautiful. Yes, wonderful. How are you, Dennis?
Peaceful meditation, the mind was able to focus effortlessly through every step, and at the end it was just dark space and calmness, and there was experience like nothing can disturb me in this peace and calmness. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautifully explained. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I noticed some urgency and rushing, right? Thinking about what Randy had said, what's next, and then just able to come back and let it go and settle into just a vast space of peace.
Yes. It is the Dama. When we lack Dama, then mind picks up, which object I have to pick up, which event, which step, which thing. You have to, it's all about cognitive understanding. Eastern wisdom, so you understood it and then you got absorbed. So understanding is more important than controlling it. That is what, we need to understand. Beautifully. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So I was just checking in the meditation that how I am able to withdraw myself from the impression that mind was bringing and making the mind calm. So it was quiet and calm.
Beautiful. Why beautiful? Can I separate myself from the mind, and how that mind withdraws itself is a great understanding, is a very great recognition. And that can help us. That is what indirectly Christina did, that is what Jerry did. But to recognize this is objective, body, mind, breath, I'm talking to you, the thoughts. They are objective, they are not me. I am pure consciousness. Yes, that is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.